in a marsh, and they were running out of food.
Oh, yeah.
And they were running out of grog. You know what grog is?
What? Soup.
That's their drinking stuff. They drank to
Like
anesthetize themselves.
Mom, that's too much light.
Vodka.
Vodka, yeah.
Well, it's not vodka, but it's grog.
Charlotte, stop.
Grog is a special alcohol that pirates use. So they were running out of it, and they were running out of money. So they were in serious trouble. So old Blackbeard got his crew together, and they said, well, look, first thing we need to do is we got to get some money so that we can go somewhere and buy some food and some grog. If we're lucky, we'll be able to find a ship coming out of New Orleans. And when it gets out to the Gulf, we'll be able to get food, grog, and money. That's the thing to do. So what they did is they left their lair back in the marsh and sailed slowly and quietly out to the Gulf. When they got out to the Gulf, they hid behind one of the islands out there and waited patiently. And while they were waiting, some of the vessels that were fully loaded and laden with all the loot that they wanted began leaving and sailing from New Orleans, headed out to other ports. And so what is going on here?
I don't know.
Oh my.
Just leave the light on. I'm trying to film.
Okay.
Why are you filming?
Just leave it alone, KK. Go in your room.
Just keep talking.
Leave it open, please. So, what they did is they waited behind the island to see what was going to happen. And here came two fully laden vessels coming out of New Orleans, headed off to different ports, carrying food, money, passengers, everything. So old Blackbeard said, hoist the sails, we're going to take over one of them and take all of their possessions and make off. So Blackbeard sailed on out and started to pull over to the first vessel, and guess what it was?
Military.
The sheriff.
Yeah.
The sheriff was tricking him. So Blackbeard figured it out quickly and said, oh my gosh, they're about to got us here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to quickly depart and get back into our lair back in the marsh before the sheriff captures us, brings us all to prison. So he turned the vessel around, sailed back into the marsh, back toward his lair with the sheriff in hot pursuit. Now, as they sailed down some of those passageways down in the marsh, there were places where the marsh canals split into different directions. Well, old Blackbeard knew them all, but the sheriff didn't know them. So the sheriff was some distance behind, but chasing him and catching up. And so as they got to one of those crossroads, Blackbeard, there were 3 different routes leaving off this connection. Blackbeard took the one to the left. And the sheriff got to there and didn't know which way he turned. So the sheriff figured, you know what, I think he's probably going straight. So the sheriff went on following down the straight path. Well, of course, Blackbeard then escapes from you. Sheriff realizes sometime down there that he's lost Blackbeard. So Blackbeard lets all the night go. It becomes night. After it becomes night, they all sit around and they say, look, we're out of food here. We're going to starve if we don't go get some food. So they boarded back up, sailed back out into the Gulf, hid behind the same island again, waited for the vessel to come. But this time, they knew the vessel that the sheriff had, so they weren't going to be trapped again. Well, here comes another vessel headed out, and it's loaded with all kind of food and grog and gold and all kind of goodies that they could pull over. So they leave the island's protection and they sail out to this vessel that's coming out of the mouth of the river. Pull them over to the side, board them. The captain on that vessel was going to fight back. Well, Blackbeard pulled over to him and said, look, if you fight back, it'll be useless. We'll just kill you. We'll kill all your sailors. We'll kill all the passengers, throw you over to the sharks. Why don't you just give up and let us take what we want to take, and we'll turn you loose and you go back on your way, whichever way you want to go. Well, the captain realized the wisdom of what Blackbeard was saying, because he certainly didn't want to go to Davy Jones' locker. You know what Davy Jones' locker is, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's the bottom of the sea. So, not wanting to go to Davy Jones' locker, what they decided to do was let Blackbeard take whatever he wanted. So his sailors then boarded that vessel, searched all through it, found a big chest full of gold, found all kind of food, but no grog. It was a Christian vessel sailing, and they don't drink, so he didn't have any grog on that vessel. So what he did is he took all the food, took all the gold, went back to his vessel, and turned them loose. He was pretty nice to him. He told the captain, because you didn't fight, I'm going to turn you loose, and you all can sail back into New Orleans, reload again, and do whatever you want to do. Well, lo and behold, they look over to the stern. Here comes the sheriff. His vessel has now realized that Blackbeard is out at sea again. Now, the sheriff's vessel is probably faster than Blackbeard's vessel. But they haul all their sails up and take off. They're trying to make it back to St. Thomas, which is his main headquarters. He has a castle there that he has built. In fact, when KK and I were down in St. Thomas, we went and visited Blackbeard's castle. I think I have pictures of it for you. So in any event, they took out, and as they were sailing, it got darker and darker as they were sailing. Well, the sheriff's vessel was really catching up to them pretty closely, so they were hoping it would get dark in time. Lo and behold, they got to a point where there's a big fog bank. And so Blackbeard said, we got to get into that fog bank before the sheriff catches up to us. We get in there, we can maneuver wherever we want to, and then we'll be able to escape the sheriff. So they just did make it into the fog bank before the sheriff caught up with them. But once they got in, they made a quick right turn, another left turn, another right turn, and then they looped back around back behind. So the sheriff sailed right by him, off into the fog, and Blackbeard is now safe. So once they let the sheriff go on through into the fog looking for Blackbeard, but he's now behind them. So what he does is drop all his sails and sit quietly there in the fog bank while the sheriff is off looking for him. After a while, he decides, I think we're safe. Let's hoist the sails up again, and they do that, and they sail out of the fog bank, headed east, and lo and behold, they get all the way to St. Thomas. They get into the lair where they are there. They're into the castle. They unload. Now they have a lot of money, and of course there are merchants in St. Thomas that'll sell them the grog. So they use the gold that they captured down to the merchant, and they buy a bunch of grog, and now it's party time again. And so that's what they do. They spend all of their time now at the castle partying in hopes that they won't run out of food, grog, and money. And now they're happy there. And when the sun goes down, all of them go to bed. The sheriff, meanwhile, has lost them, turns back around, goes back into New Orleans, and at this point, we leave him in peace. Just remember where he is, so that when we go to Blackbeard again, we know where he is, right? He's in St. Thomas, in his castle. Okay?
Tomorrow night.
That'll be. All right. Good night, all.